Okay, we're going to do the stock valuation model. Um, so starting from a fresh spreadsheet, I just got to delete this to make it look like a fresh spreadsheet. So here I want to have my model choice. And I'm going to choose between a constant and non-constant growth. So if I don't want anybody to see where that list is, so I want to go down to the bottom here. I do control down, and I have right here, I've already put this in, but let me move it someplace else. I'll have C for constant, NC for non-constant. If I do control up, it stops at that C because it will stop where the data stops. If I do it again, it goes all the way to the top. Now I can go to data, data validation, data validation again. I want to have numbers chosen from a list. Click on this to see where the list is. Control down. I highlight these two. If I want to put an input message, I would type here C equals constant, NC equals non-constant, whatever I want people to see when they use this. Let me go back to the top, make sure this is in correctly. Let's go ahead and put that on NC. Once I have my model choice, I need to know my short-term growth, and I'm going to not write things out in full here. We can deal with making it more user-friendly at a different time. I just want to use abbreviations as much as I can to get this done more quickly. So my short-term G, my long-term growth rate, I will need K for cost of capital. I'll need years of short-term growth, or the high growth period. I'll need a D0 for the initial dividend. So let's make this 20%, 4%, and 14%. We'll talk about where those numbers come from at a completely different time. Format to percent. This will give me more or less decimal places. 2 is probably good. Years, 1 year. And let's make the years to have no formatting. The dividend, I will make $1. So I had that accidentally in percent format. So it thinks of that as 0.01, so change it back to $1. Okay, I want to leave a empty cell right there. I'll say years, year 1, year 2. Now rather than counting these out, if you highlight these two, go to where the white cross becomes a black cross, Excel will guess, hey, they want to count by 1, and you just copy all the way across to 20, and we have the years. So now we need to have the dividends, we need to have a terminal value, the present value, and I want to have my output right here as the price, and I want to put that into a different color. Maybe I'll put both of these, and you can go through and you can pick colors or more colors from here. Swim both in that kind of green, and maybe we want to have the price to be in bold and italics, however you want to make it look. Okay, before we start to get the dividends, let's break this down to one step at a time. I want to make sure I'm picking the right growth rate. Okay, so what has to happen for me to pick 20%? Two things have to be true. It has to be, I'll make this year to 5. We have to have the model choice of NC, and the years of short-term growth be less than or equal to the input, in this case 5. So I need this and that to be true. I want to use an AND function, and I'm going to the insert function portion. If you've never used the AND function before, then this is the best way to do it because it walks you through the individual steps. So my first logical is cell B1 equal to, in quotes, NC, and you can't have any spaces. So if when you did NC in the list you had NC in a space you didn't realize, it would give you a false. So that tells me that's true, that's correct. And then I want to know, is this less than or equal to those years? That's true. So hit OK, that's true. But if I copy this, I'm referencing the wrong thing. So what I need to do, the B1 doesn't change. I always check the B1 cell. I always check the B5 cell. So now I can copy this I didn't mean to copy it down. I can copy this all the way across, right, all the way to year 20. Now I can check. It goes from true to false between year 5 and 6. If I change this to 7, it should go, yeah, it goes true all the way to 7. If I change this to C, they're all false. Okay, so that's working. Let me change this back to NC. Now let's think about how to make it pick the correct growth rate. So I need an if statement. So rather than retype this, just between the equal and the A, type if, open parenthesis, we have a logical test, which in this case is true. And if it's true, you want to do what? Pick short term. We're going to copy this, so lock it down. If it's false, pick the long-term growth rate. We're going to copy this, so lock it down. And now going across here is picking 20 and 4 at the appropriate times. Change that back to 5. 20 and 4 at the appropriate times. Wonderful. So now Excel just sees this expression, this formula, it just reads as 0.2. So to get the dividend this year is equal to the dividend last year times 1 plus the growth rate, and this if statement is the growth rate, and put the parenthesis on at the end. Now if I copy that, what happens? I'm referencing the wrong previous dividend. So what I want to do here, let me undo that. At this point, I want to say is equal to the dividend in any year is equal to the dividend the last year times 1 plus the growth rate. And now if I copy this, I'll just copy a couple. Yeah, it's referencing everything I want it to. So I'll copy this all the way across. And now I can think about how many decimals I want to show here, and let's just do it to 2 decimal places. That's what I'm showing, but Excel is of course doing the calculation on the entire thing. The terminal value, in this case P20 equals D21 over K minus G. So to get D21, it's D20 times 1 plus, and it's going to be the long-term growth rate, divided by K minus G. So that's my terminal value. Okay, the present value, I want to have the present value of, and I'm going to do it this way, the dividend plus the terminal value, even though there's nothing in the terminal value cell, because that way I can just copy this over. And that's discounted at 1 plus the cost of equity. So lock that down, raised to the first power, and then copy this all the way across. Here's how I want you to think of this. I'm willing to pay $1.05 today to receive $1.20 in a year. I'm willing to pay $1.11 today to receive $1.44 in a year, and so forth. Down here, I'll pay 36 cents today to receive $4.31 in a year, and $3.72 today to receive both the $46.61 and the $4.48 in a year. So the price of the stock, click auto sum, it's going to guess wrong, and so I highlight my individual present values, hit return, and my price is $19.29, and I look at that, the color probably needs to be a little bit lighter, so the price is $19.29. Now I can come in with this and say this is a constant growth stock, and the long-term growth rate I think is 5%. The dividend last year was $2. It will change all of that. I say no, I think this is a non-constant growth stock. The short-term growth rate is 25%. The long-term is 4.5. My cost of capital is 12%. It's got 6 years of long-term growth. The dividend last year was $2.50. That's the price of the stock. So that's how the model works. You need to have it programmed up to this point right now, and we will point out the flaws in all of this a little bit later. Make sure you can do this in well under 10 minutes.